Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our 3 sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Last night, I'm at the baseball grounds, ballpark it's now called, and I now understand, for the most part, what the Colorado State fans who lost to Maryland in round of 32, I understand how they feel. Now, granted, that's postseason. Last night between Florida and Florida State is regular season. However, it is a neutral site.
Yeah.
And it is a massive rivalry. That game, obviously, not so much a rivalry, but again, that's for a spot in the Sweet 16. So it's a little different. I get it. But there's a moment of euphoria when Florida took the lead last night because Florida had not led for most of the game. And we were sitting in the little dugout box, which was amazing, awesome seats right behind home plate. And shout out to Mayor Deegan for throwing the first pitch and also to the walk-off charities player who got to go out there and also throw the first pitch. So fantastic.
He was so cute.
So adorable. He was warming up and getting all sorts of ready, little lefty. But Florida takes the lead and literally the Florida contingent, who obviously the baseball team has not been playing well as of late, everyone is just jumping up and down, screaming, did not think this moment would happen. And then Alex Philpott comes up and walks a guy, walks another guy. Bases end up loaded, and yes, everyone knows what happened next. Alex Lodis, who started his career at University of North Florida, played for Bartram Trail, returns to Jacksonville, and hits a walk-off grand slam, and the moment is ruined. 100%
For
ruined.
you guys. For a lot for
That's what I mean.
non-Gators.
For the Colorado State people and for the Gators fans, the moment is ruined.
I saw
obviously the opposite for Florida State.
a friend of 1010, our guy Chad Kushner of Atlantic Coast High School acclaim, and of course a Florida State alum. That was the first post that I saw from this game of anyone who was there, and he's like, that was the greatest baseball game. That was so much fun. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's all I need to know before I actually look at how this game finished up, because
it
yikes.
was fun.
Yikes. For the Gator fans, heartbreak, but certainly the storyline of it being a Jacksonville kid who hits the walk-off as well.
Great.
That's...
But just like it's a stab to your heart, and as far as I wanted to be like, but you should still be playing for UNF, not playing for FSU.
Back
so
to
that
our
way I wouldn't
conversation
have-
from
Correct.
yesterday.
It's also
Correct.
full circle.
I know. And then Florida has a guy that played at JU, right? And FSU. Yeah, it's just the transfer portal, when it works to my advantage for the Florida men's basketball team, is a great thing. It's helping these guys.
Yeah.
But when it goes and it just stabs me in the heart, it's a terrible thing. I hate the transfer portal.
Yeah, first of all, that's when baseball's most heartbreaking. That moment when, like, you feel for a while you have no shot, then you come back and whether you tie it or take the lead, and then something like that. Sometimes it's just a normal home run, like him hitting for a cycle grand slam. That hurts even more.
I mean, yeah. In the moment, I didn't even realize he was hitting for the cycle when he hit the grand slam. Of course, because right then I'm just thinking Florida went from winning 4-3 in the top of the ninth to now losing 8-4 in the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, and a big moment, cool moment for him, obviously. But yeah, like on the opposite end of baseball, that's one of the biggest, probably the biggest dagger to the heart that you could take is a grand slam walk-off. Like, that is just one of the things you don't ever want to see. And it sucks for that pitcher, too, because when you get into that position and you're a couple outs, how many outs were there at that time? I'm trying to remember.
I don't think there were
any outs.
No outs.
Okay, so no
Yeah.
outs. You still in your head are like, but you're still like 3 outs away from winning this baseball game.
Yeah, but like I said, once the bases were loaded,
Yeah.
of course, every Gator
At least
fan
you
in
knew
that
it was going to score
stadium-
something.
Yeah, but I will say, oh my goodness, Ken Babby and the Jumbo Shrimp team with what they have done.
Yeah.
Media. I know you're going to the media day a little bit later as they allow media to talk to the coaches, the players, and then of course unveil their food offerings for 2025. It is gorgeous. And shout out to the Dozers who got us the tickets in that dugout box. I've never sat in such amazing seats, and now they've redone them. So they're just this super nice leather, and they're
Oh, yeah, I
wide
saw
and-
pictures of it. It looks nice.
oh my goodness, so nice. And I didn't get a full tour of that home plate club, which is also attached, but Frank did. And he said the bar is 60 feet, 6 inches on purpose, of course.
I love that.
Yeah. And then I didn't go to the other new part either, and the new shop and everything.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Yes, I'm very excited to see because, of course, there were conflicting reports, and I haven't been at the stadium since 2 Thursdays ago when James Gladstone spoke at the Miller Electric Center. I'm curious exactly how much you can actually go into. I mean, is it fully open at this point in time? Because 2 weeks ago it was, well, there's still some construction going on. And I was like,
Yeah, I think you'll find out today, but I would
Yeah.
imagine so, yeah.
because the expectation is with opening day for minor league baseball next week, it'll be full go, right? I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I want to say that on their home opener, they said there's going to be that block party right out front to celebrate kind of that official opening of all of the newness that will be the new entry and all of that stuff. And that's what the Lodis home run went into that new little section. I was like, so the first, like a home run, I mean, a local kid gets to hit the first home run in kind of that new facility. But he's also, when you go back and you look at what he's done this season in general, he's a very, very good baseball player, and he's so much fun to watch.
But here's the thing, and
He's
again,
good offensively, also defensively as a shortstop.
I'm not as in the weeds on the high school baseball front, but again, a player like this who goes to UNF right out of school, and then the question of, are we even at the collegiate baseball level when it comes to these Power 4, Power 5s? Are you even recruiting the high school ranks anymore? Or are you solely saying, if there's a guy who's going to develop late,
You're recruiting small schools now? Is that
I'm
what
going
you're
to find
saying?
him at the mid-major or the JUCO level?
Yeah, I think with baseball, it's a complicated question, especially when it comes to pitchers, because I do think that the high school guys don't have as much wear and tear, and you want to get them in your system, and you want to keep them under lock and key virtually, because you want to avoid Tommy John at all costs. And so for pitchers, I would imagine you want certainly some of those young guys. Obviously, we talked about it yesterday. The starting pitcher for Florida was a true freshman. And things went okay for him.
Well, that's why when I was doing crosstalk and Mike's like, well, what do you mean there's still controversy? And I was like, it's not so much controversy as if you're a Florida fan, can you, I don't want to use the term mental gymnastics, but like, can you spin this as, well, we started a true freshman on the mound, and this is a midweek tilt.
No Florida fans doing that because of the opponent.
Banged up by injury.
That part is obviously, these rational fans understand what's going on with Florida's pitching. Liam Peterson and Pierce Capola, who were two of the weekend starters, are not able to pitch right now.
Right.
I mean, that's a huge dagger to any roster. You've joked about Garrett Cole with the Yankees. Imagine your next best ace also.
Oh, well, that's a reality, Lauren. Luis Gil is also fighting a labrum injury. So, yeah,
Right,
that's a reality.
Yeah,
Yes.
but so that obviously changes everything about everything. But yeah, I don't think there are excuses to be made about last night. Last night was just a classic, iconic game that whoever's bullpen was going to outlast the other.
Yeah.
That's who was going to win. And Sully had to tap into his bullpen fairly early because, again, it was a true freshman out there on the mound, McCall B. Miller for Florida. But kudos to Link Jarrett and his squad, because you know what they did not do? They did not crumble when Florida took the lead 4-3 with only a half inning to go. They looked at each other, and we were literally able to hear conversations in the Florida State dugout. We were on the left side of the dugout box, so I could hear them talking to each other. Like, one would come on, especially if he would strike out, he'd come off and he'd talk to the next player and obviously give him tips about what he just saw that pitcher doing. And so it was a really cool experience to be that up close and personal. But they did not back down, to use the opposite of what Florida Gators say. We won't back down, but they did not. And so I think the program that Link Jarrett has built is incredible. That when he took over, that team was terrible. No offense to Mike Martin Jr., but the team was not any good. And
he also accepted that year one may be terrible.
Because he allowed a lot of the guys that were from the previous regime to stay. And I'm sure you don't want to walk into a place and clear everybody out and be the bad guy.
You don't want to be John Calipari. I spoke to the team. There is no team.
Yeah,
Although that
exactly.
is kind of the reality in 9 times out of 10 in this day and age.
But Link Jarrett knew he wanted to build the program a certain way. And now he's got guys that have bought in. He, of course, has some transfers as well. But he understands how good this area is, Jacksonville, that is for baseball talent, high school baseball talent. And so it's really impressive, again, to go up against, and even though Florida State is ranked higher than Florida right now, this is a team that beat you in your own ballpark just a few weeks ago. So you know how dangerous they are at the plate, and yet Florida State kept swinging. Yeah,
and I think that when you look at it in that sense, and when we were talking a little bit yesterday, it's fun, and I feel like this rivalry will be fun for a while now because of Link Jarrett and Kevin O'Sullivan and what they're able to build and each do. And we've talked so much about Kevin O'Sullivan's record against Florida State. We're seeing that shift already and that's just how quickly a coach can change things. And that if you want to connect it, obviously here locally, that is how fast it can happen. But also, let's say we just said Link Jarrett knew that first year was not going to be maybe what people thought, but those right after that following season, you're already like, wow, he's made all of these changes. And
is that a Jaguars comparison?
Yes, and that's what I'm trying to like in your head. Sometimes I think people want this instant, like right away you're going to go from 4 to 12 wins. I think you have to temper expectations a little bit, but what you should know is by the end of this next season, like this coaching change really can transform things pretty quickly, and you should be able to see it on the field fast. And that's what you've seen with Florida State baseball. Pretty much, not like I said, it was a little bit of a slow, but by the end of that first year already, you were like, okay, Link Jarrett started to change this program.
Yeah, I think the comparison's a good one because they're not taking a one-year approach. The Jaguars brass is looking at this, I would imagine, from everything they've told us, in like a 3 to 5 year plan. That's why they let go certain players that some people didn't want to see go, but they brought in 10 free agents, and they may not be done bringing in free agents. There could be another one on the way. And so then obviously they've talked about trading back in the draft to add volume to this roster. Like they want to completely overhaul the roster, and that's not just to win in 2025, even though they'd love to do that too.
Yeah.
But it's to build for the long term.
And I think an important note, and this was true in 2022, and it's true here heading into the 2025 season as well, which is, yes, I believe this group when I hear them say that the Jaguars believe that they can be competitive year one under James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli. I believe that. I also think that is a large byproduct of A, the players you already have that you believe in, those building blocks, and B, your building blocks being better than the building blocks with the other three teams in your division. And so that's where, you look at it back to Florida State baseball and you look at what Link Jarrett was walking into. He knew the ACC landscape because of his time at Notre Dame, but certainly, I mean, if the SEC is undoubtedly the best conference in college baseball, but the ACC is right behind. And for people who don't know, Notre Dame plays in the ACC in all sports other than football.
Yeah.
And so, again, that's where I think you knew that there would be a little bit of a curve. And I think there's still going to be a curve for the Jaguars as well, as Taylor alluded to. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. But when you also look at the landscape, I think that also has helped in the process as well.
And Florida State, too, we talked obviously about Lodis, but they had 3 local Jacksonville guys last night. And so that is, and obviously you get one from being a transfer, but you also, when you talk about that competitiveness between those two, it's going to be Florida and Florida State. It's going to be Link and Kevin O'Sullivan recruiting Jacksonville because they know the talent that comes out of the city when it comes to the baseball world in general. And so those two competing for all of these high school players, it's going to be fun for a long time.
Yeah, the DeLameler brothers played against each other earlier in the year with one at Florida State, one at JU. And yeah, there's a ton of local ties. We've talked about Aiden King, one of the really good pitchers for Florida, a young guy there. It is going to be a really fun rivalry. The moment both teams are good, it ratchets up so much. And that ballpark last night, obviously it was sold out. That game is always sold out, so that's not a surprise. But there's a difference between a sellout and people going to have fun. Like, for instance, the players sell out on Saturday, right? And there's a lot of people who aren't watching golf. Yeah. They're enjoying their cocktails or seeing friends, whatever, letting their kids run down the hills. I'm not judging. Yeah. Go have fun. The game last night,
they're there for baseball.
Every single person, outside of the people in lines to get food, drinks, or the restroom, every single person was dialed in. And what I love about baseball is there are so few people that can actually tell if it's a strike, right? Yeah. There are very few seats that line up directly behind home plate where you can actually see if it's a ball or a strike. And people, no matter where the ball is or no matter where their seats are, they are just screaming at the ump. And it's like how'd you miss that? Right. I'm like, you have no idea. Like, watching a game at home is so incredibly different with the strike zone, right? Yeah. Watching a game in person, like, again, very few people have the seats that they can be able to tell. By the way,
and at home we have a square that we can.
Yeah, I couldn't tell whatsoever other than like the high-low, right? But I couldn't tell inside or outside. Dylan, you're a Gators fan. Were you watching the game when it happened last night, the Grand Slam?
I saw the entire 9th inning, so I saw the whole game, yes.
Yeah, it was fun and then not so fun all at once. Dylan Denmark filling in for RJ Saunders today. We are going to get to, I have a very important college football question to ask the three of y'all. On the other side, we'll get to that, some NFL as well. And like Mia said in Crosstalk, Robert Flores will chat with us about more baseball, heavy baseball day today. Jumbo Shrimp, by the way, first home game, April 1st, which is next week.
Tuesday.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? April is next week.
Yeah, which is wild.
Get ready for it.
Doesn't feel like it.
I know.
Almost our year, by the way.
Yes,
our
almost
year of a daily show.
That's right. We're going to throw a party here in studio. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Play-by-play sports just sounds better on radio. For high school, college, and pro sports play-by-play, turn on 1010XL.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
It's that time again. The Ready, Set, Go sales event is back and going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here. Now's the time to make the most of Ready, Set, Go savings because the Arlington Toyota lot is jam-packed with inventory. That's over 800 vehicles to choose from. What kind of savings are there? I'm glad you asked. Just announced, 0% on select new Toyota models has been extended. 0%. And that means now's the time to save on the new Toyota you really want. And come on, admit it. You know you'd look good in a new truck. So get ready, set, and go get yours today with financing as low as 1.99% on select new Toyota trucks. Arlington has over 80 Tacomas and over 75 Tundras available. Plus, you get Arlington's lifetime warranty and 60-day exchange with your new Toyota purchase. Don't wait. Let's go and shop the Ready, Set, Go sales event at Arlington Toyota now through March 31st. In person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295 or arlingtontoyota.com.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at bariorthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics and online at bariorthopedics.com.
Find out more at bariorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
It's a Helmets and Heels Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Your yard starting to look a little like a jungle? Well, it might be time for a little TLC. Or how about RTC, Russell Tree Care? At Russell Tree Care, they give your trees the perfect haircut. Whether it's trimming or removing, they'll make sure your yard looks its best, all while keeping safety as a top priority. Call Russell Tree Care today and let them take care of your trees. Russell Tree Care, 844-4Mr. Wood. That's 844-467-9663. Or visit RussellTreeCareLLC.com today. Your trees will thank you.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Spring pickleball, tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? Hurry, time is running out. March is almost over. You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Sign up at sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
Join me, Max Fink, as I keep a close eye on everything that happens in Gator Nation.
The Gator Report, polished up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators! We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
The First Tee Tour Card is back for 2025 and better than ever, with access to over 15 of North Florida's best courses and new this year, local participating businesses. This card is your ticket to saving hundreds. First Tee North Florida is a local nonprofit who build character in youth participants through the game of golf. This annual fundraiser enables this amazing organization the ability to build game changers. Grab your tour card for just $99 at tourcard.org. for a list of participating partners, benefits, and restrictions.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town, setting the standard in our hometown. Quality service, the best around. Coolidge is the cat that cares about your heating and about your air. Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, Dylan Denmark filling in for RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Poor RJ had to wake up very early today to do the drill. So Dylan gets to pull a double duty shift.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan.
We appreciate
Dylan,
it.
have you recovered from the wonderful world that is our friends at Circa Las Vegas and everything out there in the desert?
Yeah, I went to bed early Monday night, so I felt good yesterday.
Which I heard you answer that question on Jaguars Today yesterday, and you were like, yeah, I went to bed early at 11 p.m. And I was like, okay, when I say I'm going to bed early, it's
like 8:30.
Yeah, it's well before 9 p.m., that's for sure. But glad to have you along on this Wednesday afternoon. All right, my question for y'all in college football. Is this the most wide open college football has ever been in as far as we have no idea who's going to win the national championship? I feel like the last 10 years we could have said it's one of a few teams.
Yeah.
It's Alabama, it's Georgia, it's Clemson, it's LSU, one of those teams, right? I don't think we could predict right here, right now, maybe the top 12 we could get to, but I don't think we could predict who's going to win the national championship this year.
I think that...
and yes, part of this is the transfer portal.
Part of it is the transfer portal.
Thing.
And part of it is the comments.
We're just going to change our show to the transfer portal.
Yeah, we're headed into the portal.
That means one of you's leaving. Or I'm leaving.
Right. But also, I think part of it, the comments that we shared from Kirby Smart yesterday.
They don't want to be coached.
Right. And if Kirby Smart's down on his team and he says his team doesn't want to be coached and they're too tired to play and too tired to practice, then what does that say? And I think that coupled with knowing how much Ohio State lost, knowing that Texas is
of
going
the roster,
of their roster to graduation, and it's a credit to Ohio State, by the way, because in the age of the transfer portal, and certainly they loaded up from the portal too, but the fact that they had so many 4-year, 5-year seniors that said, I am coming back and running it back to win a national title, and that is what they did. I give them all the credit in the world because that proves to me, contrary to what Kirby Smart says, there are players out there in this younger generation that do care about competitive nature and the spirit.
They also got a lot of money.
Yeah, that too. But also the spirit and the camaraderie and the pageantry that goes along with playing for your school. And then you go on down the line, and so many of these other teams are, Notre Dame, who's the quarterback? Texas, who's the quarterback? Penn State.
Well, Texas, we know who the quarterback is.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I almost would say and I haven't looked at betting odds, but I would guess people would be having Texas at the top a lot because Arch Manning.
But we've seen him in a smaller sample size than, let's say Drew Aller at Penn State. Or my favorite Heisman dark horse, Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. But
I have the betting odds, by the way, for 2025. Ohio State is the favorite, surprisingly, and then Texas is close behind.
Right, and I think it's just because of the pedigree of Ohio State and the known commodity, at the very least, as much as Arch Manning can be known, which is, I feel like we've known him. He's been in the spotlight forever.
The tired Georgia Bulldogs. That's what I'm going to nickname them for now. Are third. But that was pre Kirby Smart's comments about how tired they are.
Right,
they don't want to be coached.
But to your point, I think that the evil empire, and it was so funny to
Alabama,
but also Georgia has kind of usurped that title here in the last 5 years.
Yeah,
because there have been holes to poke at Georgia, because there have been shortcomings in the last 1.5 to 2 years. I think that has leveled the playing field. I think that the idea of Kalen DeBoer going to Alabama and them immediately be a national championship pedigree team. There were moments last year where we thought that was the case.
Yeah.
And then there were moments where we looked around and said, oh, boy, Jalen Milroe's regressing. Oh, boy, I don't really know what they're trying to do here. And I think that by virtue of those two axes, if you may, kind of coming back to the pack, Ohio State can also probably be thrown out there as an evil empire, but they had taken a step back in those 4 to 5, 6 years where Alabama and Georgia consistently were competing for the national title. And so I think that
they really only lost to Michigan. That's the crazy part.
No.
Like, Ohio State barely ever loses, but because they were losing to Michigan, that's what set them
we
back
forgot
as far
about
as
them. Right.
the tournament.
And so the point that I'm trying to make is because you don't have this clear evil empire right now, that's why there's so much parity, because for the better part of the last 20 years, it's been one of those three programs undoubtedly has been the number one team going into the preseason poll.
And I also think that when we talk about quarterbacks, I mean, I think the quarterback conversation is a big one. And I think Arch Manning, yes, that is probably going to be the name we talk about the most in this, just because it's a Manning number one. You attach Manning name to anybody, that's going to be a thing. But in moments when he did have to come in last season, it didn't feel like much changed offensively. You felt like he came in and got things pretty quickly. But when you go through the list, Oregon's going to have a new quarterback. Georgia's going to have a new quarterback. Texas is going to have a new quarterback. Notre Dame's going to have a new quarterback. Ohio State. Boise State's losing Ashton Jeanty, which was almost their entire offense. Miami's going to have a new quarterback. Alabama's going to have a new quarterback. And that's the top 13. And that's all of those teams. Some of these guys coming in that have been there, like an Arch Manning, that's just going to make their way up. And we've seen Oregon kind of find quarterback after quarterback when it comes to what they've been able to do there. But it will be, I think that's going to be a huge storyline, is which quarterback outside of an Arch and a Nussmeier are we going to be paying attention to the most? And how quickly are they going to start being able to take over things and get going? Because I do think a lot of, and that's part of it in the conversation of last year when we talked about Alabama, like how can Kalen DeBoer do the same thing where you lose all of this talent and still be able to win? Was Mike Norvell able to lose all of this talent and still be able to win? The answer for that was no. Now we got to see if some of these newer coaches and who are losing these quarterbacks and some of these star players, are they able to keep pumping and going?
And by the way, Florida State, the prime example of, there's probably a team out there that we're not talking about right now that absolutely hit in the portal, and we won't know that until midway through the month of October.
Yeah. The other two teams, by the way, Mia, besides Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, it would be Clemson and LSU that have also been ranked number one preseason, which the last time that a team was ranked number one preseason and finished unranked was 2013 with USC. Every other year they finished ranked, and not usually just ranked, in the top 5. So you want to be in that number one spot for sure. But I do think the entire landscape of college athletics, that's what we've spent a lot of this week talking about. But I think in football, it's almost the most fascinating because, to your point, you can go to a spring game. I see a player that you like.
Do those still exist?
And
Sorry.
Yes, Florida's is April 12th. We'll be there. And then that player could literally leave after that spring game or the spring practices. Either way, it's a fascinating topic, but we will switch it back to baseball when we return, and we will chat with Robert Flores of the MLB Network. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Rick Ballou, the truth teller.
You're popular with the public, but I don't have to tell you, I don't have a lot of friends in high places.
Rick Ballou takes you into the night.
Means I got to do a little acting. I'm cool with that.
No acting. Weeknights on 1010XL.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix them. At Terminix, they know how to stop termites just like they did at our house. These destructive pests may have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so does Terminix, and their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem. I certainly didn't want to. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Hey folks, Hicken here for Zero Res. You're going to want to beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Hey, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Don't forget about your air ducts. Your air ducts, sort of like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com. Tell them Dan or 1010XL sent you. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Top Dog Tavern is your gathering place for family and friends, offering something for everyone. Want a delicious meal served with a smile? We have you covered. Shareable appetizers, hot and crispy wings, juicy tavern burgers, fresh salads, plus a large craft beer selection. And there is nowhere better to watch all the big games than on our multiple TVs. Enjoy great food, cold drinks, and good times at Top Dog Tavern, located in Bartram Park off Old St. Augustine Road.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and heels.
Hi, I'm Jeff Breyer, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Zach Breyer. When my dad started in business in 1990, I wasn't even born yet.
That's true, and after 35 years and nearly 20,000 satisfied customers, we literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, or you're looking to transform your home with new flooring, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites, or better yet, do yourself a favor and stop by one of our showrooms on Phillips Highway to experience the Lifetime difference and receive 20% off your purchase now through March.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On March 26, 1973, at the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, UCLA beats Memphis for the Bruins' 7th straight title. Bruins' Bill Walton is named the tournament's most outstanding player.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Mia here, and let me tell you about one of our area's best resorts, the Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa. The Sawgrass Marriott is not only a great destination for a vacation, but it is also a great destination for dining on the Florida's first coast. 1912 Ocean Bar and Rooftop is now open on Ponte Vedra Boulevard, featuring Ponte Vedra's only oceanfront rooftop bar and lounge. Serving finely crafted cocktails and delectable eats, it's open daily from 4 to 10 with complimentary valet parking.
Reclaim a pain-free life with Rebound Rehab. If you've been injured or simply feeling the effects of an active life, you can rely on Rebound Rehabilitation to get you back in the game. Sitting on the sidelines isn't any fun. Trust Rebound Rehab's team of trained physical therapists to get you back up to speed and feeling full again. Now more convenient than ever. 11 locations to serve you, including new offices in Riverside across from St. Vincent's, Point Meadows, and Middleburg. Just log on to reboundrehab.com to see all they've got to offer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
All right, we are back, and it is one of my favorite times of year. As I like to say, diamonds are a girl's best friend, and that's key for some baseball talk. So what better person to talk to right now than Robert Flores of MLB Network? Robert, thanks so much for hopping on with us. We're super excited to get into some hardball.
Hey, thanks for having me. Mia, Lauren, Taylor, how are you guys doing?
We are doing great. As I said, this time of year for us is exciting. We just got done with Players Championship. We have March Madness going on, and now baseball coming in fast. And me being a Cubs fan, already 0-2, I'm going to forget about that for a little bit with those Japan games we had. But let's get into some of the bigger storylines to kick it off in Major League Baseball. I think one of the big ones is Juan Soto and some of those expectations with the Mets, what he can do there. I feel like every year we kind of have, especially this last couple years, we have these up and down moments of the Mets, maybe a very fast start, kind of falls apart midseason, and they find their way towards the end. But what are your expectations up there in the Big Apple and with Juan Soto?
Well, look, I expect Juan Soto to be what he's been for the past handful of years, and that is to be maybe the most complete hitter in all of Major League Baseball. Francisco Lindor at the top. He had an MVP caliber season last year. I think that will continue. He has seemingly found his footing and found a home there in New York as one of the faces of this franchise. I think for me, the big concern for the New York Mets right now, and we all know that this is a long season, but is the state of their pitching rotation. Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas, they're both going to be beginning the season on the injured list. Both are got injured during camp. I think you're going to see Manaea sooner than we see Montas. So what does this pitching rotation look like? I mean, the opening day starter is Clay Holmes, who at points last year was closing games for the New York Yankees. Now he's going to be the Mets opening day starter. So it's going to be a very tight division race in that National League East between the Mets, the Phillies, and the Braves.
Taylor says, don't talk about the Cubs. Also, don't talk about the Yankees these days, Robert. My team of rooting interest, I joked with one of our other hosts here at 1010XL on the air earlier today. Our season ended 2 weeks ago, so not going to talk about them. Interesting question, though, for you, and especially for some of our listeners who maybe are in the world of fantasy baseball. My boyfriend is very much in that world. And so I asked him, as someone who doesn't play fantasy but watches a lot of baseball in the summertime, right now, the 5 best players in Major League Baseball, in your estimation. I think 1 through 3, potentially pretty obvious, but I'm curious who 4 and 5 may be for you.
Well, I mean, you've got Shohei Ohtani, duh.
Right.
Aaron Judge, that's easy. 1, 2 right there. I would put Soto in that mix. I would put Bobby Witt there. Yep. So that's 4. As far as that 5th person, is it Ellie De La Cruz? Is it is it Bryce Harper? Is it a resurgent Mike Trout? Is it Kyle Tucker, a potential 30-30 guy? I think those are the names right there that jump to mind.
Well, let me throw one more at you, because this is a guy who certainly in this listening area is someone who we are rooting for to have a bounce back campaign. And obviously he won't play these first 5 to 7 weeks, but Ronald Acuna, do we expect that bounce back, especially with how high people are on the Braves as a whole, and perhaps creating more of a cushion for Acuna to ease his way back in 2025?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I mean, it was just a couple of years ago that this guy set the world on fire and won an MVP in his own right. Having to come off a second ACL surgery is going to be one that I'm really interested to see what he's going to look like. Obviously, he is not going to begin the season with the club. He's continuing his rehab. I believe they're expecting for him to return to the lineup sometime around maybe late April, early May. But I know the first time that he tore his ACL, those initial games back, those first few months back, he did not look like himself. And I get it. There is that overcoming the fear of not wanting to experience that kind of pain again. Maybe the fact that this is the second time he's going through it, maybe that eases his transition slightly. But look, there's no mistake about it. If he is right and healthy, no doubt about it, Ronald Acuna Jr. is a top 5 player. We just got to see it now that he has to come back from a second ACL tear.
fans are certainly very excited to see what Acuna can do. Robert, the Rays last year, 2 games below 500 for the first time since 2017. They're playing in the Yankees spring training venue, which is very odd. What do you make of that ball club?
Well, look, I always say it on our show, MLB Central, which is Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. on MLB Network. By the way, that's excellent use of a transition by a professional broadcaster.
I love it. I'm here for it.
Self-promote.
Do you see how I just dropped it in there? Just like organic. This is excellent. No, I always say on that show, I've stopped doubting the Tampa Bay Rays. You know, every year we think, well, they'll be hovering around 500 or maybe below, but there's no way they're going to win a lot of games. There's no way they're going to challenge for a postseason berth. There's no way that they're going to challenge for a division title, but more often than not, they fool us. You're right. Having to play in an outdoors venue in July, in August, that's not going to be easy. I will say this. I believe 19 of their first 22 games are at home. So they have front-loaded those games in Tampa to try to take advantage of the cooler weather. They're tweaking the game time starts throughout the season. But make no mistake, it's going to be a challenge. But like I said, the Rays are one of the most unique franchises in figuring things out. So I am not going to doubt Kevin Cash and the Tampa Bay Rays.
Robert, when we talk about that NL Central, because I do want to, you mentioned Elly De La Cruz, and we obviously have Paul Skeens in that division also, and the Cubs who made some moves this offseason when it comes to a Kyle Tucker. We saw P. Crow Armstrong start to come on a little bit late last season. So some exciting players, but just kind of some question marks in that division as a whole, I think, but some fun players. What are your thoughts on how that could play out and with some of those guys to look out for?
I think the National League Central is very wide open. You mentioned the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. The team that won this division was the Milwaukee Brewers, and they won it by 10 games. Mm-hmm. And I feel like no one has really talked about them a whole lot this year. And I get why. I mean, the Cincinnati Reds have Elly De La Cruz. That's an emerging superstar, and they got a new manager in the Hall of Famer Terry Francona. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they have Paul Skeens. He might be the best pitcher in all of baseball. But the Pirates, much like the Tampa Bay Rays, always seem to figure it out. I think it's a wide open division. I don't think the St. Louis Cardinals will figure into the division title picture for the National League Central, but I could be wrong. There's still some talent there, but I think overall that this is going to be a very fascinating division to watch throughout the year.
Well, yeah, Robert, I left the Cardinals out on purpose.
While we are in the business of plugging our guest, Robert Flores, be sure to follow him on X as well, at RoFlo. He's on YouTube, he's on Twitch, he's on Blue Sky, where the skies are blue. Make sure you follow him wherever you get your baseball content. And speaking of your content on social right now, Robert, you and your co-host at MLB Network, for MLB Central, of course, made predictions, preseason awards. Let's get to the mound. Let's look at, we've talked about potential top players in the field. We have several listeners who have texted in. They have chatted in on our YouTube chat here at 1010XL. They want to talk some Paul Skeens. I see Paul Skeens' name on several of these preseason ballots. I do not see him as the preseason NL Cy Young selection for you. What do you make? What do you make of the second-year pitcher in Pittsburgh, but also your selection for the preseason Cy Young in both the NL and the AL?
Yeah, who the hell filled this list out? I'm not. What am I thinking? I picked Corbin Burns.
Yeah,
and I'm really high on the Arizona Diamondbacks this year, and I think he's going to have a fantastic season. Obviously, look, Paul Skeens. Like I said, he might be the best pitcher in the game. His stuff is absolutely unhittable. I just look. It would not shock me if he won it. I just wanted to be a little contrarian because I knew that both of my co-hosts were going to go with Paul Skeens, so I did it purely for the gram and purely for the content. But so that's why I went with Corbin Burns. But I would not be shocked if Paul Skeens won the National League Cy Young.
Well, I think all of the LSU fans out there are certainly, I would assume now, a little bit Pirates fans, honestly, because of Skeens and what he's been able to do. I have a coworker who is a diehard Pittsburgh Pirates fan. We all have the same coworker, and of course, Skeens fan. But his philosophy, Robert, when it comes to being able to reduce the amount of Tommy John surgeries that we see with pitchers is to eliminate the high strike. What say you?
I mean, look, it is such a multifaceted, nuanced kind of conversation when you consider the amount of Tommy John surgeries that are throughout the baseball industry. And because, interestingly enough, last year was the 50th anniversary of the first Tommy John surgery. So it is more timely than ever. And it's not just a Major League Baseball issue. It is a baseball industry-wide question. It's an industry-wide problem. Unfortunately, we're seeing players younger and younger having this procedure done, and they're having it multiple times. Jordan Montgomery of the Arizona Diamondbacks just revealed he's due for his second Tommy John surgery within the last, I believe, 6 to 7 years. So, look, it's obviously a concerning issue, but what do you do about it? I don't know. Guys are throwing harder than ever before. They're throwing full max velo, max effort all the time, every time. That's something that their predecessors decades ago didn't necessarily do. I think the way you have to look at how teams and universities and coaches, how they're training these young pitchers, how they're training older pitchers and professional pitchers. So it's clearly a multifaceted issue, and there's no simple answer for it.
Robert, before we let you go, I want to get into ask a couple of the new rule changes that we are seeing. I know we saw back in 2023 the shift rules when obviously you didn't want guys in the shallow outfield, and they kind of adjusted some of those. And now they've now adjusted to where under new rules, a batting team may accept the result of the play, or they can be granted a free base. What are your thoughts on this, and what do you see us maybe seeing a little bit more or less of this year with these new rules?
I mean, I was in favor of abandoning the shift or, putting restrictions on where you could put certain fielders. And look, there's always a segment of baseball fans that don't want to change anything. And I get it. I understand it. But I always go back to what other sports do. And they have no problem tweaking things, changing things. Heck, the NBA once changed the basketball during the course of the season. So I'm glad that Major League Baseball and baseball in general in the last handful of years has become more open to changing and tweaking. We saw that during spring training, this most recent spring training with the ABS system and players and teams being allowed to challenge balls or strikes during the course of a game. I think you're going to see that being implemented at the major league level beginning next year. That would be my guess. So anything that can make the game better, more effective, and more importantly, when you're talking about Major League Baseball, more entertaining. Mm-hmm. This is an entertainment business. There's a lot of competition out there, more than ever before, for sports fans' attention and their dollars and their ratings. Major League Baseball has to be able to keep up and has to be able to be willing to change and tweak. And I think here recently, the industry and the league has shown that they're willing to do that.
Certainly. All right. We have to ask you a Texans fan, or as a Texans fan, we have to ask you a Texans question before we let you go. What's going on with that offensive line there?
Well, they totally remade it. They trade Laramie Tunsil to the Washington Commanders, and they have totally remade it. Look, something had to be done, and I hope they can figure it out because, as you guys know, the Texans run the AFC South, and that's the way it should be, and that's the way it will be.
Well, it's the Jaguars West now, if you guys keep taking all the former Jags.
Well, they're Jaguars West, and we're Rams East here, so, I mean, anything is possible.
Yeah, no, but look, I think the Jaguars are in for a bounce back, and I'm hoping that, like I said, that C.J. Stroud can – I think that the Texans wasted a year of C.J. Stroud in his rookie contract. So I think he regressed a little bit, some of it. on him other with a byproduct of a poor offensive line. So it's going to be interesting to see what they look like and what he looks like in 2025.
It's just so fascinating, Robert, because the Texans were the statistically most injured offensive line in 2023 when they not only make a playoff run, but it's a stunning turnaround from worst to first. Yeah. And by all expectations, the thought was the offensive line is healthy. They will take the next step this year. And, of course, now the argument is being made of will the pieces they added actually be the long-term pieces that actually can build a fortress in front of C.J. Stroud?
I agree. That's where it starts, on the offensive and defensive line. It doesn't take a genius to know that. That's how teams are built. Unless you're the Cincinnati Bengals and you give all your money to two wide receivers. And then the rest is just like, you guys figure it out. We've got these two guys paid.
I'd argue that some former people here also did not quite get the concept of fixing the trenches. But again, Robert Flores, MLB Network, we really appreciate your time, and it's baseball time, which makes us all excited.
You got it. Enjoy the season, guys, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, we'll bug you again. Don't worry, Robert. Yeah, good stuff there. And I think some of the interesting things that he said about the sport as a whole, right? It's okay to make changes if it makes the sport more entertaining. He joked about the NBA switching the ball in the middle of the season. Do you remember the conversation surrounding Major League Baseball a few years ago?
Oh, yeah.
It was all about the juiced ball because Rob Manfred, the commissioner, knew that they were losing fans and money, right? So they said, yeah, we're going to have more home runs.
Right.
Chicks dig the long ball.
And, of course,
they did it.
The idea of a pitch clock, the idea of a clock for speeding up the game.
Which, by the way, last night in the Florida State game saw multiple pitching violations, both teams, multiple pitching violations, and then also a batter actually got in trouble, a Florida batter, got in trouble for taking too long.
And you couple that with PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan's announcement during the Players' Championship week that they are going to experiment on some of the lower-level tours, on the Korn Ferry Tour and some of the international tours, the idea of penalty strokes for pace of play. And
swing clock.
It's coming for every sport. And in light of the fact that we are still in the month of March, I can't help but I have to acknowledge the end of games in college basketball.
The reviews is a huge topic of conversation.
It's the next. I think that is
like
the
a
next.
Nap
That's the next frontier. You could cook a whole meal. You can go to the bathroom, do your business.
Right, and that's a whole nother conversation of how do you eliminate and the reviews aside, how do you eliminate the ability to foul that much and then send the other team to the free throw line, but you have to foul, right?
But you also want to maybe have
you might have to change the rules about the final 2 minutes.
Or do you have a command center? You have an additional referee, which of course then paying the referees. How do you compensate them? Do you have somebody who is sitting
Storatory out of the booth?
Right. Well, Gene's literally, he's there at the command center and he makes the call and he plugs in on the radio and says, it's this. And then they get the call from command center and they go, okay, here is the ruling. Like maybe that's the solution. But as Robert noted, look, you can't help but deny, you can't deny that what Major League Baseball has done is recognize, hey, we need to be more attractive to a mainstream audience. We need to engage the next generation whose attention span continues to shrink by the minute.
And it's not just the next generation. It's all of our attention spans are shorter.
Right. And so we
can't get to the red light before we look at our phones.
Right. I mean, look at even college football. The fact that they are trying to speed up the game when it comes to first downs.
Shorten the commercials.
Whether the clock, that's what they really, or the halftime. Like, that's what they really should be doing. But the point is that it's across the board. But I do give credit to Major League Baseball because they were the first here in the last 5 to 10 years to say, you know what? We may need to change to better suit our fans and our viewers.
Yeah, and they've done a lot. We talk about the pitch clock. We talk about the shift. We talk about, honestly, the DH, putting the DH back into the NL because that was a thing for so long where it was like the AL had it and not the NL, and there were certain players that were like, well, they didn't want to go to the NL because they couldn't be a DH. And
the universal DH should have happened so long ago.
Yeah, and so there was things like that where that baseball has definitely, they realized, and as much as I hate on Manfred, there are things that he realized people are not loving baseball anymore, and I want people to enjoy the game like they used to enjoy the game. And in the midst of that, you are losing maybe some older fans who don't like the changes, but it's 2025.
And I don't know that I've heard of people saying, I'm not going to watch baseball anymore because of these rule changes. I would think it's more the opposite of people who just have never fallen in love with the sport, and they don't understand that every pitch matters.
Yeah.
Like, yes, in a blowout victory or loss, maybe not. But in a game that's close, literally every pitch matters.
And I also think, and that's part of why the great work that Robert does and the MLB Central crew, MLB Network as a whole, the idea of why has the NBA risen in rankings since circa 2015, this new iteration? Well, in large part, yes, it's because of Steph Curry, LeBron, the Cavs, the Warriors, the Splash Brothers, certainly, but also this idea of can we repurpose the live broadcast, which, look, that is, and I've said it here on the air and I will continue to say it, if you want to see an industry that is recession-proof, look no further than live television broadcasts of sporting events. It's not going anywhere. How do you repurpose that for the next generation, for this online social media audience? And so that is where I think this idea of, hey, yes, you want to watch a full game because then you understand the context of the game, but we live in the highlight era too. And as much as you may not be turning on SportsCenter to get those highlights, can you bring those highlights? Can you make it accessible? The players look like they're having fun. These are all steps that are being taken towards creating a more accessible game, I think.
Well, there's faces of the NBA. I don't know that right now in Major League Baseball.
That's why I asked him off the bat.
I mean,
pun intended.
Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, and there are a few.
And it was Trout for a while, but Trout was on a team that couldn't win.
And Mike Trout's an introvert, so
and he's always hurt too, which doesn't help. But there are a few certainly. But the NBA, you could sit here and rattle off 15 people whose social media following dwarfs typically the Major League Baseball following. All right, we will continue the conversation on the other side. Also get to some NFL news as well. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Of all the places in the world, this is our favorite. This is home. 1010XL. Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. If you're like me, as soon as you click yes to a subscription, you feel stuck. Starting Awaken 180 was the complete opposite because it's not a subscription, no fine print. Pay as you go, lose weight as you go. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Out with the old, in with the organized. Mia here, whether you're tackling overflowing closets, a messy garage, or an unorganized pantry, Closets by Design will create a custom storage system that helps you breeze through spring season stress and mess-free. Spring on this deal before it's gone. Get 40% off any order of $1,000 or more, 30% off any order of $700 to $1,000, plus an additional 15% off and free installation on any order of $850 or more. Call Closets by Design today, 1-800-293-3744.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Get ready for an unforgettable night of classic rock with legendary vocalist Jeff Tate. Known for his iconic work with Queensryche, Jeff Tate brings his unforgettable sound to the Florida Theater for one night only. A round-trip journey in your head. Witness the hit album Operation Mindcrime, performed in its entirety for the final time. Jeff Tate, Operation Mindcrime, April 3rd at Florida Theater. Tickets at floridatheater.com.
E.T. here, and spring in Clay County means one thing: the award-winning Clay County Fair. It's more than just rides in a concert, it's an experience. Savor the flavors of classic fair treats, explore family-friendly attractions, and enjoy a perfect mix of small-town charm and big-time fun. Plan your trip with Explore Clay County Tourism and turn your visit into a getaway. Find the best places to stay, eat, and explore at exploreclay.com. And don't forget to share your fair adventures with #ExploreClay.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Denny Thompson here. You gotta check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I could stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Your tax refund is here. Why not invest in your home? Superior Fence and Rail helps you build value with beautiful, durable fences that boost your home security, privacy, and curb appeal. With expert installation and financing options, turning your yard into an outdoor oasis is easier than ever. Reinvest in your home today with Superior Fence and Rail.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. The first-seeded Florida Gators men's basketball team are just 1 day away from their highly anticipated Sweet 16 showdown against the 4th-seeded Maryland in the NCAA tournament. After an impressive run through the first 2 rounds, the Gators will look to keep their momentum going tomorrow night. You'll be able to catch the game live on 10:10 a.m., tip-off at 7:39. The Florida Gators baseball team faced a tough defeat against Florida State Seminoles in the Sunshine Showdown here in Jacksonville 8-4 last night. The Gators managed to take a 4-3 lead in the top of the 9th inning. However, the Seminoles responded in the bottom of the 9th. Gage Harrelson's infield single tied the game, setting the stage for Alex Lodi's walk-off grand slam, which not only secured the win but also completed a cycle for the night. Gators will now remain on the road and travel to Oxford for a 3-game series against 15th-ranked Old Miss Rebels starting tomorrow night with the first pitch at 8. It's 80 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, Dylan Denmark, filling in for RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. We appreciate the time that Robert Flores gave us on all things Major League Baseball. I hate to say that we predicted a hamstring injury on the show yesterday, but it does feel like we might have done that. We were discussing Xavier Restrepo, who I'm still going to say that he's drafted before so many people think, which now it seems like a day 3 pick. And I heard Tony Pauline join the guys on Jaguars today and certainly think he's going to be drafted much later because he did run a really slow 40 time. But Taylor, I believe it was you said he's going to come out and say he had a hamstring
We'll give it a
injury.
couple days. He'll come out and say, anyways, that his hammy was tight or something.
And Xavier Restrepo didn't wait a few days. Late yesterday, he came out and said the reason he ran between a 4.76 and a 4.83 40 at the Pro Day for Miami was because he had a hamstring injury.
Here's the thing.
He also has deleted it since then.
Yeah.
Oh, he deleted the tweet? Okay.
I saw it this morning. I went to go screenshot it and it was gone. But luckily, if you send a tweet to somebody, it will still show like in your messages. Just once you click it, it's gone. So I still got the screenshot. Xavier.
Well, because I brought it up with a league source who was at the Miami Pro Day, and this person said, well, if he pulled a hamstring, why was his shuttle numbers? They were pretty good, and why was his on-field workout pretty impressive?
Yeah. And why would anyone in your circle let you run a 40 with a bad hamstring? Like that tightness, whatever it is. Do you know how much worse it can get if you
with you running on that? There's no way they would have let him if that's what it was.
So, and like you said, he deleted it, which, as we all know, if someone deletes a tweet, that means there's probably more to the story. But like I said, I don't really care how slow his 40 time was. I think he's going to be a good pass catcher in the league. I don't think guys like him come around all the time. He's a tough guy, and he has good hands. I watched him up close and personal for years. Like, I think he's going to be really good.
I would be more concerned about, him being listed at 5'10", but a lot of people believe he's really 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
I would be more concerned about that than I would be the speed element, because yes, game speed, 40 speed, it's different to be certain, but also the role that he would play. I'm not so sure he is this number one wide receiver, even though he primarily plays in the slot. I think, quite frankly, and not to compare apples and oranges, but the role that I think many of us are anticipating for Parker Washington and Liam Cohen's offense, where the slot is not the featured wide receiver. To be clear, that's Brian Thomas Jr., who will be able to play all three wide receiver positions, but someone who certainly is still a contributor, maybe not in that same sample size, because you also run a lot of 12 and 13 personnel, and so you bring more tight ends into the slot and onto the football field. But I could see a role like that being carved out for him. I think that that's absolutely in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I mean, is it there's a world where, I mean, what if he does fall? What if he falls to the 3? Do you consider that?
Well, to day 3. Well, I will tell you this, Taylor. You and I
don't think it happens.
You and I got by those Wikipedia nerds a couple weeks ago when we were discussing Drew Dahlman, and we're like, why does it say he plays for the Bears? Like, that's weird. If you look at Wikipedia right now, Xavier Restrepo plays for the New England Patriots, and I think it's because if Bill Belichick was still the head coach,
they do have a new wide receiver.
They do. They have Stephon Diggs. Yeah, they do. But but I mean, who certainly plays the slot a bit more than probably previous and probably more primarily there, just because of this juncture he's at in his career. But no, I think that would be one of those teams that already have a treasure trove of wide receivers, but maybe can afford to take the risk on someone who maybe doesn't pass all the thresholds that they typically set for draftable players, simply because, well, he was a good college player. Yeah. Maybe he's intangibly rich.
Watch his film. I don't know. And some guys, some people I think are truly more in that sense of, I mean, we talked about before when it comes to Gladstone, they didn't even go to the combine with the Rams. I know they visited pro days, so you were still seeing that stuff. But some of these guys take film way more into account than maybe some of these like RAS scores that other people do.
Yeah. As far as other news, like you mentioned, Taylor, Stephon Diggs to the Patriots on a 3-year contract. I don't know that I would have given Stephon Diggs a 3-year deal at this point in his career. And the Patriots, to me, seem like one of those teams that's, quote, winning the off season and is going to lose in the regular season.
Well, they had like what,
They had a lot of money to spend.
$120 billion.
Sure.
Like, they had to start
Give
spending
somebody
money
to catch Drake May passes.
Right, and maybe possibly build an offensive line in front of him, although they still don't have a left tackle as of this writing. And so, I mean, look, it's the same situation the Jaguars found themselves in once upon a time in 2022. Because you weren't that good last year, you are going to have to overpay to get players to come and play for you, and that's the situation here. Ultimately, for me, I have bigger concerns about Stephon Diggs, now 31 years old or 30 years old, and I forget if it's 31 as of now or he will be 31 opening day. Point being, coming off of an ACL, an injury that we spoke about yesterday with
He's
Juju.
already 31. He'll be 32 in November.
There you go. So we spoke about it yesterday with regards to Juju Watkins, who's just 20 years old. And certainly it's different for men and women, but this idea of the first year after your ACL tear, you're never quite as good as you are the second or third year after. Well, by year 2 post ACL tear, Stephon Diggs is going to be 33 years old.
Yeah.
That is not exactly the prime of your career. For some, depending on what position you play and who you are, you can still find fruitful years in your mid-30s. I'm very curious, especially knowing what their offensive system may look like in the Josh McDaniels system. Maybe it's more of a throwback to what we saw when he was with the New England Patriots. I am curious and fascinated to see where Diggs fits in there.
Yeah, I do think, and he also tore it like halfway through the season too. So I'm guessing they're going to. He's at least the first 6 weeks he's not going to be playing. My guess would be a little bit more beyond that before he's actually on the field and 100%. But yeah, so you're pretty much, you have 3 years, but technically 2.5 years is what he's actually going to be playing, and that's if something else doesn't happen, which previous to this last year, he's been a pretty healthy player. I don't think he's missed like 3-4 games in the previous 5-6 years. So I don't think it's something that they're probably thinking about too much, but you are going to be missing a half a season of Stephon.
No wonder the Texans wanted Christian Kirk as we go through now no longer Stephon Diggs. Obviously, Tank Dell and the severe injury he suffered when we were in Vegas in
December. They're like, here's a little 7. Have fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans are certainly in the wide receiver market, whether that's in the first round or whether that's beyond at this point in time. And the final NFL news, I feel like we were also clairvoyant on this when we said maybe the Giants don't want to draft one of these quarterbacks high in the draft. And so yesterday, Russell Wilson announced 1-year deal with the Giants. And so a $10.5 million deal, he can make up to $21 million in incentives. His wife is very happy to live in New York. That's all well and good. But it does maybe change how the Giants feel about Shedeur Sanders, or at least maybe make other people think that they don't want to draft him.
Well, it all but assures they don't feel backed into a corner and have to draft a quarterback at number 3 overall.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe, and some people I'm seeing maybe it's their plan because maybe they're getting some indication that both Tennessee and Cleveland do go quarterback. And then what happens if they didn't have another backup plan? I'm sad. I wanted to see Jameis. Wilson's boring to me, but I get what
they're going to fight it out for the starting spot, Taylor. And for all we know, maybe Russ has, what was the injury last year? Not Lisfranc. What was his injury? Or quad or whatever it was, and so Justin Fields got to play the first 6 games of the season. Like, maybe it's something like
that. He had a calf injury.
That's what it was. A calf injury for Russell Wilson. So maybe something like that. He tweaks and misses the first few games. We get to see some Jameis, and then Jameis never relinquishes the starting spot. I am sure by now saw the edit of those 3 quarterbacks in the Giants quarterback room. And shout out to Brian Perez of Sports Illustrated for this. Takes Adam Schefter's edit and then tweets it out and says, "Coming to Bravo, the real quarterbacks of New Jersey." I would give so much to be a fly on the wall in that quarterback room.
Yeah, I wonder if the Giants are, like I said, maybe they're hearing some things that maybe Tennessee or Cleveland do go quarterback. Maybe they want to make people feel like we have Russ and Jameis, so we're not here. Call us and let's have a conversation about what it is to get up to 3. Maybe they're hearing some chatter of people wanting to go up to 2 to get one of those other quarterbacks. And so I think maybe they wanted to play it safe. And I feel like for them, I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't love any of these quarterbacks. So to me, get through this year.
Try to win something,
like bring some
games,
sort of try and develop neighbors a little bit.
Try
more
to save your
figure
job.
Yeah.
Well, and the Browns do pick second, right? So it's not like the Giants are in the starting pole position as far as the NFL draft. They don't pick until 3. So what if they are hearing the Browns are going to take Shedeur after the Titans take Cam Ward, and so they realize, we're just going to have
at least a backup plan, and then if it happens, cool. Like if we can get one of the guys we want or the guy we want, then great.
Yeah. You know what job I want is, not that I don't love mine now, but I want to be the college football scout of a pro football team that needs a quarterback. And so I have to go to all the big college football games next season in order to watch these guys in person. An Arch Manning, a DJ Lagway. I need to go to all of those games and scout those quarterbacks. That's the job I like.
Well, that's the argument that so many are making, that Joe Shane was at every big Colorado game last year, but maybe he was actually scouting Travis Hunter the whole time. I don't know.
Or
possibly.
Deion Sanders.
Or
he could bring Deion to be the head coach.
Maybe that as well.
That would be an adventure.
Dylan Denmark Pockets is sitting in for RJ. He just sent us some breaking news from the college football world. Do you have the breaking news graphic, or are you going to improvise with your own audible here?
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Pockets telling us via CBS Sports PR, Gary Danielson has announced his retirement as CBS Sports' lead college football analyst following the upcoming 2025 season. Friend of Helmets and Heels, Charles Davis, is set to succeed Danielson beginning in 2026. Poor Gary, man. He just couldn't get used to having to travel in an RV all the way out to the beautiful Rose Bowl on a random Saturday for a Big Ten showdown, or up to Fayette, or not even Fayetteville. That would be nice. West Lafayette or Madison, Wisconsin. This man, when he was in the SEC, when the SEC on CBS still reigned supreme, he used to drive in the RV to every single game with his wife, and now
It's John Madden-esque.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Oh, yeah, because
I
he
thought-
didn't like planes.
Right.
Yeah.
Madden didn't.
Yeah.
Danielson, I think his
He
is
just liked to-
life of leisure.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought the breaking news was going to be about Florida gymnastics because Leanne Wong named to All SEC for the 2025 team. Selena Harris Miranda, newcomer of the year. She's a newcomer because she transferred in from UCLA. And then, Dylan, I wonder if you know this person, Taylor Clark, the all-freshman team. Do you know her?
Negative.
Okay, because she's from Orange Park. And that's near your neck of the woods. And she's a Gator and you're a Gator. So just curious. But yeah, congrats to them. We've got more to do on the other side. I'll bring you our Terminix Pest of the Day and a whole lot more. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to kind of acknowledge it.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
All right, it was a miracle.
The Drill. Mornings on 1010XL.
Can we go now?
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional, non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them at hodgesmazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
The time to buy an emergency generator is before you need it, not when you're sitting in the dark. Storms happen in a hurry in Florida, so be prepared. Protect your family and property with American Electrical Contracting. Call them today, 737-7770.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Spring pickleball, tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? Hurry, time is running out. March is almost over. You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Sign up at sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
We've all been waiting for it, and now March is finally here. Joe C for Hard Rock Bet. The only way to make the most of March is to feed the frenzy. Check out all the lines, the tournament's opening rounds, and don't miss out. Who's getting upset? Who's going all the way? Play right along with them at Hard Rock Bet or download the app. Super easy to play and win on the Hard Rock Bet app. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Buying a diamond, wedding band, or piece of fashion jewelry in Jacksonville? You have two choices. You can go to locally owned Beard's Diamonds, or you can go to one of those mega national chain jewelry stores. The national chains are pretty much all the same. In fact, did you know that some of them are owned by the same conglomerate? Yes, the same Wall Street company owns all the big names. So if you're looking for extreme value with genuine personal attention, come experience the Beard's Diamond difference. At Beard's, our diamonds come straight from the source. We hand select each one for maximum brilliance. We don't have to apply corporate markups and tack on salespeople commissions, so we beat the chains on price every single day. Beard's has the strongest warranties, not gotcha clauses and fine print. Beard's has all the top designers, including Tacori and Viraggio. Beard's doesn't have out-of-state regional managers calling about sales quotas. We are all local, family-owned with total freedom to do what's right for our customers. Beard's Diamonds, all the selection, quality, value, and service you want from local people, accountable only to you. Beard's in the St. John's Town Center.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at HellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Hella Windows and Doors.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS. IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
My granddaddy ranch down in East Tennessee. I guess that's where I got my need for speed.
How many times have y'all listened to the new Morgan Wallen songs that came out last week?
Not honestly as much as I thought I would, just because of March Madness and been catching up on all the basketball podcasts on both the men's and the women's side. So unfortunately, that's been my focus. And then I come home and Kevin's like, "Did you listen to the new Move the Sticks?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, that's right. The NFL draft's going on too. I gotta be keeping tabs on that too."
Yeah, the one I can't remember. So there was two you played last week. One of them I really, really like, and I played like 500 times. I can't remember.
That's the just in case. That's the one.
Yeah,
not
that's
the one we
I
just
like.
listened to.
Yeah,
I predicted that you would love that one.
Yeah, that one I listened to many times over the weekend. But that's what I do that. Like if I find a song I like, that song is on repeat, and it's just I add it to my liked, and then I kind of just my liked playlist is almost just kind of my phases of what the songs I like over the year. So it'll be like 5-6 songs that I like obsess over, and that's what I listen to like every morning getting ready. But then they'll update every like week or two of the new ones that I like. So that's now added into the top of that.
I like it. Today's Terminix Pest of the Day brought to you by Terminix. Visit them online at terminix.com. Any pest issues you have, they will take care of those like they did at my house, like they do at Everbank Stadium. Last night, ViStar Ballpark. Well, this is an easy one, and I'm sorry, FSU fans, but my best of the day is Alex Lodi's because he hit the Grand Slam walk-off and obviously hit for the cycle as well. Look, Lodi's family, I know you're friends with people that we know, and I hear you're a great family, and so it's not anything about Alex's personality. In the moment, though, Florida takes the 4-3 lead.
No, just make it the transfer portal, Lauren. That's how we stay neutral on this.
It could be that. I don't have to stay neutral. That's one of the things I do love about working in radio. Talking to so many people that worked in the newspaper business, and we have several that work here, you had to remain very unbiased in that realm. Here, we all wear our colors on our sleeves, whether it's, the baseball teams we cheer for, the football teams, whatever. And so, last night
I didn't even speak about the Cardinals. That's how much I hate St. Louis.
We didn't even ask Robert Flores about the Cardinals. It was one of those moments that really just set up well for this Kevin O'Sullivan team that's been just bashed online over the last few days, and all these irrational fans that think Sully should be fired. And it was setting up for and it was a gorgeous night. We talked about the weather the other day. The first coast this time of year.
Yeah.
I mean, just stunning. And then the moment just was a little too big for Alex Philpott. Florida State fans would say I should have made my best of the day Alex Philpott, Florida's closer. But no,
we're giving up a grand salami.
My goodness. And the moment too, y'all have been to baseball games. You're sitting there and the bases are loaded. They just tied the game.
Oh, yeah.
All the momentum's going their way. You know it's going to happen. But the moment that Lodis gets up to the plate and you hear that ball, you don't even have to watch it go out. Like, you just know it's over.
And that college baseball sound, too. It's
correct. Because they have the metal bats on, like, the wooden bats in Major League Baseball. And
You're
so,
like, well, there it goes.
It just, you hear that ping, and it's like, okay, well, everybody pack your bags.
And then you're slowly walking out, and it's like you're just
all the FSU
it's a walk of
fans.
shame.
Yeah, exactly. They're doing. I wanted to get a picture, our family picture, like because we were
the
super
war
close.
chant as they're going.
The moment it happened, we just got up and left. No family picture. Just take it to the house. The FSU fans, doing the tomahawk.
The funny
chop.
part is we had John O'Leary on site collecting multimedia stuff for us. He was just texting with me, actually, because he's about to post it. He went around and asked Knowles and Gator fans to say something nice about the opposite side. So that's going to be coming to the 1010XL social channels in the next hour. But Lauren, he texted me at 5:30, 6 o'clock yesterday. He's like, these people are too nice. There's way too much like politeness going around. And so maybe he had to wait to do it until the end of the game.
What would you say? What would you say nice about Florida State baseball?
It's a good question. I would say that Link Jarrett has done an incredible job to be able to take it from where they were to the Final Four last year in the College World Series. And Mike Martin, who is a legendary coach there and just a phenomenal human being. We lost him, obviously, recently. What was it, last year? And so Mike Martin, though, paved such a great path for that program to year in and year out get to Omaha. So those are the nice things.
See, that's very nice.
Yeah.
So here's a sampling of what you're going to be seeing on the 1010 social channels here momentarily. Bobby Bowden was great. DJ Lagway is going to be really, really good.
Oh, see, I wouldn't say anything nice about the football team.
Okay, there we go.
They were 2-10 last year.
We got some good ones. I'll just leave you with this one. The only good Gator is the one that made my shoes and my belt.
Oh, yeah. The pastor at our church has a lot of alligator shoes, and he's a huge Georgia fan, and so he loves to flaunt those alligator shoes, and I ignore that. All right, we're talking a little bit about we've talked a little bit this week about the NFL draft. I have one question that we haven't addressed. We've talked about trading down. Is there any chance that the Jaguars would trade up for Travis Hunter? My gut says no, but is there any chance?
No.
Because we trade up?
Trade up.
We've heard too much about...
I don't think there's anyone else that they would trade up for.
No, we have heard way too much with regards to acquiring more assets. James Gladstone would not be planting those seeds in his
smoke screens.
Various... Or maybe it's a smoke... The point is, because then you couple that with the case study that we've exhausted ad nauseum on Helmets and Heels of you look at the Rams historically and how much have they valued the secondary. Now, yes, there's an argument to be made that maybe Travis Hunter is a wide receiver at the next level, but you also could make the argument that, well, you also could get Matthew Golden or Tet McMillan at 5 if you're that committed to a wide receiver at 5. Is he that much better than the two of them at the position? Again, they're different players, but I don't think that there is that much of a sense of urgency to find a compliment to Brian Thomas Jr. in the top of the first round. It's not like it's that much of a, like the Patriots, for all of the pass catchers that they've signed, they drafted 3 of them, I think, last year. You could make the argument that they still don't have a true one if you believe Stephon Diggs is over the hill or at the least sunsetting. And, you could make the argument that if they draft Travis Hunter because he's there at 4 and he's the best player available, you could make the argument, and I know Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks did on their podcast a few weeks ago, they said, you can't sit there in good faith if you're the Patriots and looking at all these quote-unquote weapons that Drake May has, with all due respect to Pop Douglas, by the way. We love Pop, the Mandarin product. But you can't you can't leave Drake May with that group and then have him sitting on the bench because he's a corner. I don't think I know that's not the case here in Jacksonville, and I just don't see that creating some sense of urgency that forces the Jaguars to move up the board.
What if they really think they can play him at both positions, not every down, but if they think, all right, I'm going to play him 30% of the offensive snaps and 60% of the defensive snaps, then you really are getting a player that you cannot find anywhere else in the draft.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to add to the argument.
Yeah. And I think that the one thing with me that's fascinating because of everything new and because of the history of what all we can do right now at this point is say James Gladstone has been a part of organizations who has done things like this, and Liam Cohen has been a part of organizations that have done things like this. We don't know what their two minds and Tony Baselli are all in there having conversations about, saying what they value the most and what
they don't have a track record.
Yeah, your general managers, usually you kind of know. You know the kind of players they like. You know what they do in the draft, whether they trade up or they trade back, how aggressive they are, if they value the position need over the best player available, whatever it may be. We don't know, honestly, at this point. Yeah, the measurables, whatever you want to take. We don't know out of this group really what to expect. So to me, I would say it's on the table. I think that if you're having a conversation with these guys and what they think would improve this team the most immediately, I wouldn't say they would completely take away. There's a lot of things that factor into that. How much do they actually value? Do they want to play him both ways? Do they think he can be an absolute star on one or the other? How much would they have to trade for that? All of those factor in, of course, but I would not say 0%.
I would like to head to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures because one of our Heeligans, who I consider a friend of the program, the one and only DJ Dell, wanted to make sure we included another friend of the program, Jordan Rodriguez, and her reporting in this conversation. And so Dell writes in, the Rams tried to trade pick number 19 overall and pick number 52 overall in the 2024 NFL draft to move up to 10 for Brock Bowers. As Rodriguez said, like I wrote in Finding Rams, the Rams had just 3 round 1 players in 2024 who came up on their surveys as consensus, make him a Ram. Verse also was one of them. I get the stockpiling picks comment, but the Rams have been known to move up as well. And they did end up moving up for Braden Fisk in the second round.
But again, that's with Les Snead as the general manager, James Gladstone as a part of the conversations for sure. But that's to Taylor's point. We don't know exactly. I mean, obviously the GM is the one making all the ultimate decisions, depending on how much McVay is giving input in the coach-centric. By the way, Dane Brugler tweeted out that Emeka Egbuka ran a 4.4840. So put him in that list of guys that are going to be, I think, taken in the first round.
Yeah, I think I could see a scenario where he is taken in the first round. I was doing a full mock draft last night ahead of, do we have dramatic music, Dylan? I don't think I've actually referenced it on air yet. So if you've got some sort of music, a sound effect or something.
Poor Dylan.
Mia's mock draft Mondays return this upcoming Monday to 1010XL.com. The 1010XL social channels. We'll break them down here on Helmets and Heels. And they're brought to you by One Night Taco Stand. But with that said, I was doing a full mock draft last night, and to your point, Lauren, like I was sitting there in the 20s picking for those teams, and I just couldn't find a world in which you don't take Egbuka. You don't, like how Matthew Golden was falling, and I'm like, one of these teams has to take,
like the Texans I mentioned earlier could be certainly taking a receiver in the first round. They pick, I think, 24th.
Yes.
Like, that is a prime position to take one of those.
But are
really
they
good
also
receivers.
hamstrung to take an offensive lineman because of what they've done? 2 quick notes.
Everybody says it's a deep offensive line class.
For the sake of the argument of would the Jaguars move up for Travis Hunter, just so we're looking at the draft trade value chart, it would take 100 draft value points for the Jaguars to move up to 4. It would take 500 to move up to 3 and trade with the New York Giants. And so that's a sizable jump there, and that's a sizable amount of assets and capital that I'm curious if the Jaguars would part with, knowing that potentially there may be more than 3 or 4 holes on this roster that they believe in the building that they have to fill. Also, since we're going around the league at the various pro days, Will Campbell, somehow, some way, folks, this man had 32.5-inch arms at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. He has 33-inch arms now down in Baton Rouge at the LSU Pro Day.
Doing
to
his
which
stretches.
Yahoo Sports Nate Tice tweeted out it was cold in Indy. So
oh my God,
file that one away.
We've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 82.5 FM.
Find Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL.
It's the Sweet 16 with first seed Florida and fourth seeded Maryland. Tomorrow night at 7:30 on 1010 a.m.
I've been having knee problems for probably 6 months, and my knee was getting worse, and I had heard about Southeast Orthopedics on the radio, and I gave them a call. They got me right in. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. It was painless, and it's been doing fantastic. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
At Duck Duck Air Conditioning, we've got a crazy offer just for you. We're giving away free AC inspection to our wonderful customers who call and schedule now. No strings attached, zero cost for you. One of our expert techs will come and look at your AC unit and make recommendations to ensure it's running at peak performance. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769. Or visit them online at duckduckac.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
With so many competitive pest services in town, you might wonder why Kingfish Pest Control's business is booming while similar companies seem to be struggling. It all comes down to service, affordability, and effectiveness. Kingfish Pest Control is a local family-owned company who delivers on their promises to effectively control pests like ants, spiders, roaches, termites, mosquitoes, and more. Your home is their priority, so call today and discover why your neighbors and your buddy Hayes Car Lion trust Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your next round of golf with us. Our welcoming atmosphere and love for golf keep our friends coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Helmets and heels. Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
The 2025 NFL season is right around the corner, and the Jags are building something special. A fresh team, a new culture, and a stadium that's going to change the game. Be there to witness head coach Liam Cohen and the rest of the coaching crew in action and secure your place in line for the stadium of the future with your 2025 season ticket membership. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at the bank this fall.
Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Friday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL's Gator Bites podcast wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
If you've been in an auto accident, you can count on the experts at San Jose Collision to return your vehicle to pre-accident conditions. San Jose Collision can also provide a fresh paint job to freshen up your vehicle or completely change its appearance. They can paint and repair all foreign and domestic cars and trucks. When quality and professionalism are important to you, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Golfers, grab your clubs. It's time to hit the greens for a great cause. Join UF Health Jacksonville for their inaugural Golf Classic on Friday, April 25th at the beautiful Amelia River Club with a shotgun start at 9 a.m. Enjoy a premier golf experience while supporting UF Health Jacksonville. Bring your friends, build your foursome, and get ready for a day of fun, competition, and giving back. Don't wait. Sign up today at ufhealthjacks.org/golf. See you on the course.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Youth sports at the YMCA's focus on teamwork, discipline, and building confidence. Our experienced coaches can create a positive and supportive environment where your kids can grow, stay active, and develop a love for sports. Sports like basketball, volleyball, swimming, gymnastics, and even elite skills training. Join the fun and register. Give your kids a chance to be a part of something special. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back?
back. If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
It's been a pretty baseball-centric helmets and heels on this fine Wednesday. So
Can I add something to that baseball-centric?
I hope it's not the fun fact I'm about to say in the cool down, but go ahead.
Oh, I hope it's not either, but it has to do with Wyatt Langford.
No, it does not.
Okay.
So give us the Wyatt Langford update first.
So we had Robert Flores on the show.
Mhm.
The first guest for MLB Central this year is Wyatt Langford.
Love that.
Former Florida Gator. And so I wanted to plug, of course, the show.
He should have
MLB
listed
Central
him
that he did.
when I asked him the top 5 players in Major League Baseball right now. He should have said
Thank you.
Wyatt
So,
Langford.
yeah, now time for your fun fact.
Maybe that's your dark horse if you haven't done your fantasy draft yet, folks. Wyatt Langford, and you insert him into your lineup, and all of a sudden he wins the MVP. And Jack Gaggs making that Major League roster.
Come on up.
Let's
Bring
do it.
him up.
Jeff Passan of ESPN, another noted great baseball mind. From Home Depot to home opener. Washington right-hander Brad Lord, who worked at the home improvement store moving mulch and Christmas trees over the winter, has made the Nationals opening day roster. He will be in the bullpen Thursday against Philadelphia.
Wow, I
That's
love
amazing.
that.
That's a good story.
That is a good story. And how will the Nationals be this year?
Yeah, I don't know. There's some of these when we were talking. I wish I could have talked to Robert Flores more, honestly, because there's a
He
lot
kinda
of
had a
teams
show
that
to
I
do,
feel.
though.
I know he's a little busy, but there's a lot of teams, honestly, that I have questions on when it comes to expectations and some of the moves that happened this offseason. And there's the big splash moves that we know in Ohtani, and there's some names like that we talk about that moved around. But there's also some names that are guys that are, whether it's just really good, solid pitchers or really good, solid hitters that kind of quietly have made their way around Major League Baseball this offseason, and that we don't talk as much because of those big names. But that's the type of that's the type of players that sometimes make that immediate impact, and especially if it's in a division that maybe is a little more open or loaded, like whatever the opposite may be.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. In ESPN's roundtable, the Nationals did not receive any votes to win the NL East. Now, certainly,
I'm sure neither did the Marlins.
As we talk about Paul Skeens and LSU fans going out in the droves to acquire Pittsburgh Pirates apparel, maybe they want to get some Washington Nationals apparel while they're at it, because, of course, Dylan Cruz is one of, if not the front runner to potentially win the NL Rookie of the Year. He will be on the opening day roster, and as more than one ESPN writer writes, a lot of eyes are on Roki Sasaki, but Cruz will be playing every day for the Nationals if he fills up the stat sheet and if the raw ability that made him the second pick of the 2023 draft shines through. It is a classic Rookie of the Year profile.
I will say, too, because one of the names we've talked about, a few Gators making their debuts or going into the Major League Baseball, and the Florida State, Cam Smith, was also announced to the Astros opening day roster, which is super exciting, too. The Cubs drafted him, but ended up trading him this offseason for a bundle of guys, and it's kind of it'll be fun to watch, because I think that there's already Cubs fans that are mad about this. Like, why wouldn't you have kept him if he was already on that trajectory to be starting? But I do think that when you talk about it, sometimes you have to make these moves. That's what these prospects are for in certain times, is you use prospects to get guys that you know will be starting right away, and that's what the Cubs did. But good for Cam Smith to be able to work his way up through that organization. But the Astros also lost a lot of people this offseason.
Well, they have a certain someone playing the outfield who's never played there before. So I'm very fascinated to see how that works out for them. But yeah, among the leaders in the AL that potentially could be representing in the World Series.
Of our three teams, who finishes with the most wins? The Yankees, the Cubs, the Rays?
Probably the Rays.
It's a tough
I would
question,
guess
right?
the Yankees, honestly, just because it's the Yankees. But I think the Cubs are. I truly have no idea what to expect. Like if they won 75, I wouldn't be surprised. If they won 90, I wouldn't be surprised. So it just is going to count on a lot of obviously the pitching staying healthy. That immediately last year
it never does.
Yeah, but last year opening day, Justin Steele got hurt. So let's not have that happen again.
And the
When your
Braves would
ace gets
certainly
hurt
be-
week 1, the Yankees have already lost theirs. So
The Braves would be in the same category as far as early in the season, all sorts of injuries, not just pitching. Rays, the starting pitcher, their ace, Shane McClanahan, he was supposed to start week 1, but nope, now he's already scratched, and so Ryan Pepiot gets the start.
The
don't start
White
till
Sox, I
Friday.
saw a stat yesterday. The White Sox, since spring training have started, has lost 6 pitchers to Tommy John. 6 of their pitchers are getting Tommy John surgery.
My,
So
That's
spring
gotta
training
be.
has
That's gotta be an overestimation. Like,
No,
come on
it's
now,
a
it's
legit-
real.
Yes, it's a it's a sick and deep. It's spring training, so a lot of these are probably some of the guys that may not have been like actually on the White Sox roster, but throughout their organization. But yeah, 6 guys.
I heard Prosser said that Vegas has the odds set for the White Sox to win 54 games this year, which would be, I believe, it's like a 15-game improvement. Or
They
something.
won 41 last
41
year.
last year, so a 14. It's incremental, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if that stat was taken into consideration when that number
maybe.
was predicted.
It might lower now if that's the case. I wanted to say another note. We were talking about some of the rule changes the other day for the NFL that had been proposed. I just saw something from NFL Football Operations. They said the competition committee is proposing the following two rule changes for this upcoming season. One of them talking about making that dynamic kickoff permanent, but what they are going to do is last year the ball was spotted on the 30, they're moving it to the 35, so you get another 5 yards if it's a touchback. And then the other rule they were talking about is, which last year they changed the onside kicks. You had to state you were doing an onside kick, and you could only do it in certain situations, whatever. An onside kick at any time, but only if you're trailing.
And do you have to still announce it?
I guess you don't have to announce it.
Which, to me, that's the
It's so
whole point of an
weird.
onside kick is to surprise the
You're
other
like, hey,
team.
we're about to try and trick you guys.
Yeah.
Just let you know.
Circling back, one more note on baseball. Mia, do you know that the baseball gods hate Taylor?
Oh, gosh.
Other than the Cubs World Series, do you know this? Here's why I say this.
why?
Because the first 2 games of the year were at 6 a.m.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
That was
her
at
game,
10:10.
her game tomorrow night
Yes.
is 10:10
I did see that.
p.m.
Yeah, I did
But
see
I'm off
that.
Friday, so go Taylor.
So you not go Cubs, go Taylor. That is a really late start. I don't like
I
that. But
know.
at least
It's
you
the
get to
West
start on
Coast.
Thursday, whereas, like I said, the Rays don't play till Friday. They play host to the Rockies at 4:10 p.m.
Plus, I don't know what you're talking about, Lauren. The Gators with that 7:39 tip-off. Plus, if you're
Why
gonna,
is it that
I
time?
hate that
Why
too.
is it?
It's-
Why
that
isn't
means
it 7:30 or 7:40?
Well-
Why does it have to be 7:39?
well, worse yet, that's 4:39 on the West Coast. Imagine if it had been an actual traditional West Coast starting time, and it had been 10:39, because that is also on the table for Thursday night's viewing. Although it won't be the Gators game.
who is that?
That's going to be.
That sounds-
I will
no.
tell you that.
It just also, why do they do those numbers like
I
that?
don't
It's
know,
so
but
weird.
Arizona Duke is 9:39, and then Arkansas Texas Tech is 10:09.
Okay.
I'm guessing
that's
it's
the other San Francisco game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then BYU Alabama is the first one, 7:09. So make sure you have 2 TVs tomorrow night if you don't already. But I think that's a TBS thing, is what I want to say. That TBS
Starts on the
TNT,
9s.
They always do that. I don't know why that is, but
Yeah,
I want to
that's so
say from the
strange.
archives of my memory that's a thing. One other thing before we get out of here, since we were just talking NFL draft for today. Bucky Brooks has his mock draft, and he has 2 running backs going in the top 10, which literally, I used to jokingly say, mamas don't let your babies grow up to be running backs, because the running back position just was completely depleted as far as getting, not depleted, but it was no longer getting those giant contracts, and they were getting run to the ground in 3 years and then getting shipped off, and people would just draft another running back. Nobody cared about the running back position anymore. And now it's gone completely the other way, thanks to Saquon Barkley and all those things. So he's got, of course, Ashton Genty going number 6 to the Raiders. A lot of people have that mocked as of now. And then Omari and Hampton from North Carolina going 10th to the Bears. So we'll get Taylor's thoughts on that. But 2 running backs in the top 10, my goodness.
It's wild. It's funny. I talked to John Ledyard yesterday, and which I'm working on getting him on this show too. He had some very hot takes when it comes to, he is not a big believer in Mason Graham whatsoever. So I definitely wanted him to get on and chat some of that, of why he doesn't feel like that is a good pick at 5. But he was talking about, the running back situation, and if Ashton Genty was where it's worth drafting him in this draft, and then kind of the follow-ups of those guys behind Ashton Genty and where they should go. And he had an interesting thought about it when it comes to the running backs, because we have had this conversation so much this last year of like running backs are back. Like, this is, you're going to have to pay them now, and because of everything that happened this last offseason. But then he was like, okay, cool. We go back to this offseason, and the running backs we're talking about, Derrick Henry went to a really good Ravens team. Saquon Barkley went to a really good Philly team. Josh Jacobs went to a good Packers team. Aaron Jones went to a good Vikings team. He's like, so all the running backs that we're giving all this praise for what they went and did at their new spots are teams that were really good. So he was like, we're not really talking about it as much as, he was like, if Saquon made that much of a difference, then we would have seen that difference in New York. And if this, he was kind of pointing that out, which I think is a really, Tennessee and Derrick Henry, like both of those guys were on these teams that have been kind of mid to bad. And then they go to a good team, and of course, it works.
Yeah, if Saquon was on this Jaguars team, would they have won more than 4 games with this offensive line or that offensive line that they had? Now it's obviously getting revamped, but I don't think really maybe a win or two.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Jaguars drafted Patrick Mahomes in 2017, would it
be Patrick Mahomes?
Right. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is that Bucky has hinted more than once on Move the Sticks that it sounds like he knows something. He's not saying, but I feel like he knows something, Taylor, about the Bears being interested in Hampton specifically, but certainly a running back at 10. And I don't know if that comes from the Ben Johnson camp of once upon a time they took Jahmyr Gibbs at 12 when no one else had Jahmyr Gibbs that high on their board, but that was their guy, and that is who Brad Holmes and company went out and got. And I think it's fascinating for a litany of reasons, of course, beginning with, like Lauren noted, the idea of running backs now being back in vogue. That's why I asked the boys of Jags today when we started the program, when we were doing the handoff, I said, if you set it at 2.5 running backs, would you take the over or the under? Both Tony and Mike.
In the first round.
Both Tony and Mike took the under because in Tony's estimation, there's 34 draftable running backs. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, I still think, so the point that John Ledger made, the point that you just made, Taylor, because the running back is back in vogue, if it's someone who can do a little bit of both, pass catching, running the ball, a three down back, a great like you may have to take that guy in the first or second round. Yeah. You can't guarantee he's going to be there on day 3 like in years past.
Yeah. Bucky also has the Broncos taking Travion Henderson with the 20th pick overall, so 3 running backs going in the first round. Let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Leon, are you singing along with the jingle?
I am. I like that jingle. Absolutely.
I do feel that there should be a at the end of it.
Yeah, that's what's missing.
All right, so Leon, you and Matt Hayes debated players that the Jaguars should draft number 5 overall yesterday. Who won?
I won.
Of course you did.
Of course I won. No, well, it was us taking Travis Hunter or us taking Abdul Carter. I just think that, Travis Hunter is such a unicorn. He's such a unique presence on both sides of the ball that you can't pass upon. If he falls at 5, you got to take him.
What if he's there at 4? Do the Jaguars trade up to 4?
No. Well, if we have to give up capital, absolutely not.
Right.
I just hope he falls to us.
So
It'll just be luxury for us if he falls to us.
It's 100 points on the draft value chart, Leon. So that would be like a 5th and a 7th that you would give up.
I'm gonna move up to get
to move up to,
Oh,
to move up to 4.
Go for it.
Go for it. Yes.
Bring this
it on.
man to Jacksonville.
Absolutely. Have
and
no
the
problem with that.
circus that ensues with the Heisman Trophy winner.
Leon, does cold weather make your arms shrink in length? Because today,
I hope not. Where did that come from?
So Will Campbell at his pro day today checked in with 33-inch arms. At the combine, he was 32 and 5/8-inch arms. And so someone made a joke that maybe it was cold at the combine.
Wow, that's amazing.
But honestly, though, Leon, like I was just texting with Coach Campo about it. Like, how does this happen? Like, are tape measures different sizes in different states?
Yeah, I mean, I guess somebody came up short at the combine, which is
literally
not good. Yeah, it's not good at all.
Well, around here, we don't have to worry as much about arm length and measurables.
Mm-hmm.
We can worry more about whether Tony Baselli thinks this player should be drafted or not. And you got to hang out with him recently. Did you give him any advice?
Oh, no, that picture that I posted, that was an old picture.
Oh.
I was just going through my phone, and I said, hey, this is interesting. This was maybe about 6 or 7 years ago.
Oh,
Tony's
okay.
about 40, 50 pounds lighter now than that.
I obviously only looked at you in the picture. And so, therefore.
Yeah, well, I'm about the same weight.
All right, Leon, what's coming up?
Well, we're going to unveil Cersei Sweet 16.
Yeah.
We're going to talk the best college football teams of all time are going to go up against each other.
I love
Don't
this.
worry, 2008, Florida is in it.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
I couldn't,
Thank you.
Had to be
I'm shocked.
unbiased.
But thank
Did you match up a Miami team against the Notre Dame?
Of
80s?
course I did.
figured you did.
I did.
You have to do Catholics and convicts and that.
No, but I didn't do that one.
You didn't?
I put Notre Dame. Well, I'm gonna unveil it. I put
right.
number one.
No spoilers.
I went to 2001 Hurricanes against the 88 Notre Dame.
Okay. Go Irish.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming 2019 LSU will be in there as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, Leon.
All right, appreciate it.
We will be listening for Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for Dylan Denmark. Thanks, Dylan, for doing a great job of filling in for RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. XL Primetime and Leon Cersei Sweet 16 comes up next.